The other day, I received a letter from a gentleman saying his biggest style struggle is actually reinventing his look. Now, the gent went into a lot of detail as to what's going on in his life. He talked about how a while back he thought he had a lot of style, but he feels stuck. He's lost a lot of weight recently, and he's gone through an ugly divorce. That being said, he's excited because now he's taken steps to rebuild his life. So the question is, how does a man go about building his own personal style? The answer, gentlemen? Well, that's the subject of today's video. To start things off, I want to ask the question, why?
Why not, you bastard?
Seriously, before we spend all the time and money building your personal style, why in the world does it even matter? Is there a good reason to have a signature style? Well, how about instead of one, I give you four. Reason number one, first impressions. Now, I get why this can be confusing because most of us have received a lot of conflicting information here. We're told by society, don't judge a book by its cover. Take the time to understand what somebody's about and don't judge them based off appearances. Now, as a father of 5 kids, this is something I wholeheartedly embrace. But as somebody that lives in the real world and sees how human beings actually interact, I can tell you that that belief is an ideal, not a day-to-day standard. The reality is human beings, we are bombarded with tons of information. So we're lazy and we take shortcuts. I mean, think about it. How much thinking have you actually done today? Most times in the morning, you are on autopilot, even when you're driving. Do you remember all of your drive, all of your commute? Most of us don't. We're simply thinking, our mind is somewhere else, and this helps us conserve energy. This is actually a good thing. The problem is it can be completely wrong, and this is where the good intention saying of don't judge a book by its cover actually makes sense. But the reality is most people are going to judge you based on the way you look. So if you know this, make a great first impression and use it to your advantage. Reason number 2. Confidence. So the clothing you wear doesn't just have an effect on others, it has an effect on you. In the scientific community, this is called enclothed cognition, and it has been documented to show that when people wear certain types of clothing, they can feel more confident, they can feel more competent, and they can even perform higher on standardized tests. Seriously, there's this great study of students putting on white jackets. Half are told they're painter smocks, the other half are told they're doctor jackets. Both sets of students went in and took a test, but those that were wearing doctor jackets performed significantly higher than those that thought they were just wearing painter smocks. But to be honest, anyone that's ever played sports, we already knew this to be true, because how many times did you guys have a lucky hat in baseball, a lucky glove? You had some part of your gear that you had to wear. I had a friend and the guy would not wash his shorts. They stank, but he just simply believed that he would wear the same shorts all track season. They were his go-tos, and the guy just simply had to wear them to perform at what he thought his highest level. Now, do I recommend being nasty like that? No, but what I do recommend is if you've got a set of outfits, you've got clothing that just makes you feel like $1,000,000, well, guess what? You will perform at a higher level when you wear it. Next up, we've got self-expression. You are a unique snowflake. I know I triggered some of you guys. Point being is all of us are unique. Our genetic makeup, our upbringing, our environment, all of this makes us a unique individual. So why not use your image and your style to set yourself apart? Now, there are certain rules here, which I'll get into later in the video, but this is such a fun way to be able to wear clothing that really expresses who you are. And finally, let's just mention versatility. This is the practical aspect of simply having a go-to set of outfits that simply suit you. I love this because it makes it easy to get dressed in the morning. Ace from the movie Casino, did he ever have to think about what he knew he was going to wear a suit that day. The late Steve Jobs had his go-to uniform. This look became synonymous with who he was. In fact, so many people that have worked at Apple stores started copying this look. Now, you may be wondering, why do people who operate at such a high level, who have pretty much unlimited bank accounts, why are they going to this uniform? In fact, if you look through history, some of the most influential people out there had a go-to look that they didn't have to think about whenever they got dressed in the morning. That's because having a signature style, a go-to uniform, a look that works for you allows you to free up time to focus your energies elsewhere. Now, at this point, you may be wondering, well, how do I assess my personal style? Well, gents, if you didn't know, here at Real Men Real Style, we've developed what we call the Style Score. We've got a really quick and easy quiz that you can take, and at the end of it, you'll be given a specific number and areas that we think you can improve upon. Seriously, it's just a fun little test that we put together, and I'll link to it down in the description of today's video. All right, gents, so now let's get into the specifics of how to build your individual style. As you can see here, I've got 7 sections, and it's the intersection right there at the point that is your true personal style. So the first thing you want to pay attention to when you're building your individual style is what is the message you want to send to the world with your clothing. To illustrate how important this is, I want to lay out a scenario. So imagine you're in Las Vegas at a conference, everyone is sitting down, you got 100 people in the room, and all of a sudden some guy comes running in, his clothes are tattered, he looks really dirty. I mean, the guy just is all over the place and he screams, "Get out of here, everyone get out." What are you going to do? Well, most likely you're going to call security because it looks like the guy just wandered off the street. Compare that with if a man in a fireman's outfit came running in and said, "Everybody, get out now." What's going to happen? Everybody is going to stand up and get out of that place immediately. So what was the difference? Both of them were men. Both of them said about the same thing, but one of them said it in a manner wearing clothing that screamed authority. Now, am I saying you need to wear clothing that screams authority? No, but maybe. I mean, if you're in sales, if you're giving a presentation, if you're going to be up on stage, there is a lot of history. There's a lot of science. There's a lot of design that goes into the suit and how it builds up a man's shoulders, how it slims up his silhouette, how all of a sudden we're drawing attention to his face because when he's wearing a necktie, what is it doing? Pointing right at the face, oftentimes with the only bit of color we see on that outfit. But perhaps you just want to come off as competent, as believable, as friendly. So in that case, maybe you're going to wear a little bit more of a creative outfit, maybe wear something a little bit softer that would draw people in. At the same time, isn't going to push you away because you don't want to alienate yourself from the crowd by dressing too sharp. And we see this all the time with politicians. If they know they're going to be going into a diner, if they're going to be at a construction site, what happens? They dress down, they put on the hard hat because they're not doing any work, but they want to look the part. They want people to feel that they're part of their tribe. So when you're putting together a signature look, you're looking for your go-to uniform, your personal style. Think about the message that you want to send to others and make sure that the outfits that you've got there in that wardrobe send that particular signal. Next up, you want to pay attention to the situation. You want to pay attention to the environment. So if you're a consultant for a Japanese company that's based out of Los Angeles and you find yourself traveling to both sides of the Pacific, guess what? Your outfit, your go-to uniform, your look is probably going to be a bit more conservative. Yes, in LA, you can get away with a lot more, but over in Japan, they're a little bit more austere in the way they dress. Maybe you're in the banking industry down in Indianapolis, but you make your way up to Chicago. You guys aren't at a New York level, so you can dress things down a bit. Business casual is your go-to. You also want to dress things out because you're meeting with a lot of people that are in the farming industry, so you want to dress, you're not going to overplay it. But here's the thing, you also are dealing with weather issues. So you go with some pretty hardy shoes because you guys get a lot of snow in that area. You've also got the 4 seasons. So you've got some great outerwear, but you've also got, it gets hot and humid in there, that part of the world. So hey, you want to be able to roll the sleeves up. You've got casual clothing. Point being, is you develop your personal style. You've got to pay attention to your location. You've got to pay attention to the environment. You've got to pay attention to the culture. Next up, let's talk about body type. So some of you guys are going to be thin and tall. Other you guys a little bit short and stout. Some of you guys just big and big and big. Nothing wrong with that. You're large and in charge, and that's how you want to be seen, not fat and sloppy. So as a bigger guy down in South Texas, it gets hot. So you're making sure that all of your clothing is relatively lightweight. You also pay attention to fit, and you've got a tailor who's adjusting your shirts, adjusting your trousers, even your jeans are getting adjusted because you want to look good. People are already making a quick judgment based off your weight. As soon as you start talking, they're like, man, this guy knows his business. And that's what this is about. Now, there are other body types that want to stack on the clothing and stack on the layers, and it works for their environment. You're 6'5", based out of Spokane, Washington. Former basketball player, 180 pounds. Yeah, you're pretty thin. But you know what? You're able to wear layers of clothing. It looks great on you. Instead of it looking like you're going to get blown over by a stiff wind, you're in wealth management. You use this look to your advantage. For your body type, you're able to bring in heavier fabrics. They have a few more layers. You throw on those sweaters. You throw on those jackets. You even go for larger patterns, again, that work for your frame. Gents, here's the deal with body types and clothing. Yes, there are some body types that are easier to fit, but all clothing should serve your body for what it is today to basically minimize what society may perceive as a weakness and to maximize your strengths. So if you're 5'3", 160 pounds and all muscle, in this case, we want you to wear clothing that fits close to the body that shows, hey, this weight ain't on the gut, it's in the guns. Now, gents, if you're enjoying today's video, do me a favor and smash the like button. Next up, let's talk about color and its strategic use. Now, if you've watched enough of my videos, you know I'm pretty conservative when it comes to color. In fact, if I had to break it out, in an average wardrobe, 20% of your clothing is going to be white, 18% is going to be gray, 14% is going to be navy blue, 13% is going to be black, 12% is going to be variations of other blues, 10% brown and its variations, 7% green. And then we've got the accent colors, 2% purple, 2% red, 1% yellow or gold, and 1% orange. Now, of course, you can change it up however you want, but you'll notice that those brighter colors, those stronger colors, are a much smaller percentage of a man's wardrobe. The reason I do that is I treat these colors like a spice. You don't want to overpower the dish by adding too much spice, just enough to bring out the flavor. That being said, I know a lot of guys want to have fun. They want to bring in colors. I'd say if you're starting off, make sure that your classic essential pieces, we're talking the t-shirts, we're talking your trousers, your jackets, those keep in conservative dark colors or light shades, depending on what you're grabbing. Now, when it comes to shirts, when it comes to accessories, when it comes to pieces you can add to your wardrobe that are relatively less expensive, this is where I think you can have a lot of fun with color and reduce the risk of, buying something that you're never going to wear. Another key aspect to adding colors into your wardrobe is to learn to trust yourself. Most men intuitively know which colors look best on them. Why? Because they've probably at some point had a mother, maybe had a sister, had somebody buy something for them that looked amazing on. Maybe it was your dad. And you got compliments, you felt great. That was your go-to shirt, your favorite, just simply accessory because everyone complimented you on it. Think back to your past. I know for me, it was olive, it was dark greens. I just really felt this was my color. Turns out it works great for my complexion. The issue I'm hitting on here is so many guys just don't have confidence in their own ability to choose colors that work for their natural tones. And in case you're wondering, there are 3 major tones out there. This is different than skin color. They're going to be cooler tones, they're going to be warm tones, and they're going to be neutral tones. Now, as you can imagine, most people are going to be near the center, but they are going to lean either towards warm or cool. A quick hack to figuring out your tone is to look at your veins. If you can actually see the blue really easily, you're going to be cooler toned. If it's a bit harder, if they look green, you're going to be leaning towards warmer tones. And why that matters when it comes to metals, if you're cooler toned, a lot of us go for steel, a lot of us go for silver, hence why I love silver and steel, but I'm not so far cool that I can't actually wear just regular gold. In addition, make sure to pay attention to your eyes and your hair color. These are colors that you can repeat in your clothing and really pull out those colors. So if you've got blue eyes, if you've got green eyes, hazel, you wear a piece of clothing that has that color, it's going to naturally make your eyes shine a bit better, which is something that so many guys should do because you're going to get compliments like no other. Next up, let's talk about what you like. Your personal wants. Now notice this is one of the later ones that we're getting to, and for good reason, because a lot of people want to start here, and I get this. But what's great about going through everything else we just talked about is you've really narrowed down. You have billions, you have unlimited choices. So now we've really narrowed it down based off your body type, based off your environment. All of a sudden we're getting to your personal wants because what you do as a career and the message you want to send, all this is going into your personal style. That being said, there are so many men that you can take inspiration from, and I love it when you look to the past. One of the best places to look, musicians. I mean, you go back and you look at guys like Miles Davis. He had style just oozing out of his body. And yeah, he was through a different time period than you, but you can still bring in so many pieces and so many looks, and you can make them your own. Or maybe Michael Caine. Anyone that grew up in the 70s knew who this actor was, but he's kind of gone a bit more into obscurity. Yes, he's he's playing an older man in a lot of movies, but go back to his younger days. There's some great photos out there. You will be inspired by his looks. Gary Cooper, Walt Frazier, Shah Rukh Khan, Steve McQueen, Johnny Depp, Keith Richards, The Weeknd, even Harry Styles. Now, when you look at these style icons, what you're looking for is inspiration. Try to grab maybe a particular item. You can try to recreate the look and then see how it feels. You want to experiment. Not everything's going to work, but that's the beauty of an experiment is you give it a shot, you try it. And that takes us to confidence through practice. So a lot of people out there think that confident men are born that way. No, confident men practice being confident. And what you practice is what you become. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Gentlemen, if you practice dressing with confidence, you will be able to be confident when you're dressed. And rounding things off, we've got adapt and evolve. So here's the thing, your style journey is not a destination. It is a journey that's constantly evolving and changing. So if you're 52 and you're wearing the same things you did when you were 42, 32, you may want to change things up because you are a new person. You're a different man than you were a decade ago or 2 decades ago. If you're 21 and just starting your style journey, you can start with a modest single outfit and grow from there. Gentlemen, the journey of mastering your image is never complete. Like a rough, uncut diamond, the job of your personal image, your personal style, is to allow the world to see your brilliance. Once you're cut, once you're polished, then all of a sudden the world can see you for who you truly are. All right, Jen, so if you like this video, you are going to love this one right here. The only style rules a man needs to know. Seriously, you need to know these. Click on it right here. You'll go right to the video. It's a good one.